you gonna buy the PlayStation Portal?
Hell no. I'm wasting my money.
2023 has been a crazy year for gaming. And you know what sort of games I like? The typical story-driven games with amazing graphics and character development that you can play hours and hours of. There are 3 games we need to talk about because they have surprised the hell out of me. Some for good reasons and some for not so good. And here they are.
You're holding up one game.
I know there's only one game here because 2 of them are digital and one of them's not even coming out till next year. Get some like freaking nerves. Every time we go with this digital release only.
Script.
You know what? Screw this. Screw the script. We're gonna cancel it. No, forget it. We're done. I'm done with this shit.
Are we not going to talk about this?
Talk about what? Immortals of Aveum, a game that I've put quite a lot of hours in, and for the most part, I'm really enjoying this game. But there is one small problem about this game that makes me think, what the hell were you thinking?
Like this.
High on Life is another game that I thought wouldn't actually be released on PlayStation, but that was a great surprise when it just shadow dropped online. And another game that dropped on the PS Plus subscription service, a game that I never thought I would actually enjoy, and it's not getting a physical release until next year. We had a different stream the other day because we were celebrating 30,000 subscribers, and that's when we put on High on Life.
Yeah, buddy.
And I didn't know what to expect from this game. I know there's a lot of people and reviews stated that it's a great game, although the humor and the amount of talking from your weapons is a bit annoying. Well, it kind of depends on your humor. And if you're someone like me, you might not mind it. Booting up the game for the first time, the graphics are absolutely beautiful. The vibrant colors, the frame rate, which you might not have recognized on the stream because, you know, I'm a part-time YouTuber and we always have technical problems. You play as an unemployed person who has no job, no career, no motivation, and you just sit at home playing video games all day. And your mum even lets you know this by writing a note on the fridge. But hey, that's what my mum used to say to me. Reminds me of someone else. The G3 cartel all of a sudden invade Earth and want to kill the human race, and that's when you stumble on this talking gun. And all of a sudden, you need to shoot the hell out of these damn aliens.
Leader of the G3 cartel, don't resist. Any attempts to fight us would be futile.
If you're familiar with Rick and Morty, which I haven't seen that in a long time, this is the sort of humor you can expect.
Perfect. Now just look down the sights and fire. You're doing great, by the way.
Listen, sometimes I get comments on my YouTube channel stating that, listen, you're not funny. And all I say is,
I don't give up.
I was expecting a lot of annoying talking, but for the most part, for the first couple of hours of this game, I thought it was quite funny. Well, you know, you just...
Watch out, my feet hurt. Seriously, let me stab him. What the fuck? You piece of shit. Go ahead, do it. Shoot me.
I tried to...
Shoot me.
Alright. Oh my gosh, I just... Sleeping. With his eye open. Okay, he was really annoying. So throughout my early playthrough of the game, and not just what we played on stream, I continued playing after another couple of hours because I really wanted to play more. It's a funny, comedic story with incredible visuals and detail. And this game is freaking fun. And also, what did pop up on the screen after I was playing for a couple of hours is that you do have the option to turn down the dialogue from your knife and your gun. I decided not to because I was intrigued to know how far does this dialogue go? Do these jokes keep coming and coming? Like Forspoken. So far, it isn't a problem for me. Even when you do explore the land and different areas, you do meet a lot of characters in the game, and sometimes I just couldn't be bothered to speak to this one guy, so I just left. The gunplay is where the game excels at. The quirky gun you get, the funny enemies you get, some come running at you in packs, and others take a bit more damage and you have to pick out them from afar. You can dash, you can crouch, and you can also move across higher platforms by leeching out onto these bees, I believe, and everything about this game feels so satisfying. If you weren't too sure about this game because of the humor, if you're anything like me, a 31-year-old guy who loves playing, video games and has a stupid sense of humor, I found it funny, and yeah, you're gonna like this. But, if you're a bit more reserved and you just don't have any humor and you just don't want anyone to disturb you, then yeah, you might not like this game. We have 2 more games to get through, but before we get onto Immortals of Aveum, we're going to talk about Sea of Stars. What can I say about this game?
Sea of Stars? What the hell is this? This looks like a kid's game. Or my pen.
2 hours later.
This game is...
Terrible, right?
I freaking love it! This is amazing! What's happened to me?
Since becoming a part-time YouTuber, I always said to myself, I'm going to give some of these games a go. So I thought I have to do this for the sake of the career. So Sea of Stars is a story about 2 children of the solstice, I think I got that right, who learn how to become warriors and perform eclipse magic. This game modernizes the classic RPG turn-based combat with incredible storytelling, interactions, and overall gameplay. Playing this game makes me feel very nostalgic. It makes me feel like I'm playing one of the older Zelda titles. The story does really grip you from the start, which I didn't think it would, where you're introduced to these 2 siblings as well as their best friend Gull, and they just all love each other so much. They just want to go on a massive adventure. They have to split up from him from a very young age, and these 2 siblings need to perfect their magic and abilities. They need to perfect their magic, and 10 years goes by and they still haven't seen their best friend. When they grow up, which you get to see this happen, it feels quite emotional seeing their journey as they leave the place they have grown up in. They are now on a mission to fend off the monstrous creations of the evil alchemist known as the Fleshmancer, the bad guy. When you set up on your journey of this creative world, it feels nostalgic but really modernized at the same time. The sheer creativeness of the way you move, the combat, this game has impressed me a hell of a lot. What's happened to me? This might be more for the, older guys, based off nostalgia, not the modern day bullshit we get now.
Corruption of beautiful forms of creation in themselves.
What sort of waffle maker can I get for 35 bucks?
Fuck is this
Presumably one that makes fucking waffle.
The combat is a lot more fun than I thought, because turn-based combat is not really my sort of style, but you get different abilities which, when used, if you press at the right moment, you can build up your combo meter and deal even more damage. I chose to play as Zale, who has the power of the sun, and his sister Valerie has the power of the moon. And even though this is a turn-based, you really feel a part of the combat as you get to time attacks for additional damage, or when an enemy attacks, if you press a button at a certain time, it will deal less damage. So it feels enjoyable at the same time. I just thought I would just be pressing a button, let it go, but you feel a part of the combat, you know what I mean? You're not just sitting there playing games. Well, you are playing the game, because that's what... Never mind. Valerie has a cool boomerang ability where you'll hit back and forth, and Zale has a charged up fireball attack. And I never thought I would say this. I'm really freaking enjoying this game. I've only just started this game, but it's very, very addictive. Even though it's free on the PS Plus subscription service, I believe they have sold over 100,000 copies. And when this game drops physical, I am definitely buying this game to show my support to these developers, because there's still a place for these sort of games. I'm an old school gamer. Just because I can download it for free, that doesn't mean I want the physical box. Yes, none of this digital only. No to digital games. Now let's move over to Immortals of Aveum, and this is much more of a review because I've played quite a few hours of this game. And lately, I'm really enjoying the freaking fantasy sort of style games. I don't know what it is, but games like Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, The Witcher 3 I keep going back to. There's something about that fantasy genre that I'm really freaking enjoying. So that's why I hype myself up for this game, because it's different. Now the combat looked incredible. There are different forms of magic that you can wield with your hand. Blue magic, green magic, red magic that is just flipping explosive for very close combat. And I was very excited to try this game out. And just a note to you guys, I haven't played Ghostwire Tokyo because I didn't think that would be my sort of game. But now that I've played this one, I really want to go and try that game. Now at the start of the game, the story gripped me. And even before this game came out, I was excited to see how they tell this story of Aveum. Now you play as Jack, who's lost his home and his best friend, and he comes from the slums and realizes he's very powerful. There is conflict between different nations who are at war, which is never ending. The never ending war, or the ever war, something like that, the ever war. Yeah. And Jack wants to become an immortal, so he joins the battle mages to destroy a very powerful enemy known as Sandrak, who is responsible for destroying his home. He's also a former immortal, which is a little bit of a twist there at the start, but yeah. Now this story, I was really interested to see how this story turns out. You know, Jack loses his home, he loses his friend. I felt like it's going to be a very depressing story. It's going to be a story full of character development, character building, deep storytelling, deep emotions, and unforgettable characters. Well...
A disturbingly low whisper too. Like this. Shush. And those dreadfully atrocious Allori creatures. Are they terrified of you now? Jack, hero of Yilthium Fields. Magnuson, scourge of the Underworld.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah. Look at us. Friends now.
What the
United
fuck
through the
is
sense
this
of abandonment
piece
by
of
an
shit?
authority figure.
What the hell is even that?
Now I've played over 10 chapters of this game, and at the start of the game you think, alright, cool, Jack is a little bit of a comedic guy, he's a little bit like Peter Quill from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's a little bit of that comedic, doesn't take things seriously, and he always tries to find the funny side out of a situation. And I'm sure as we go along in the game he's going to become a lot more serious because the nation could fall to pieces, everyone could die, he's lost his home, he wants revenge. If he ever meets this guy, maybe he will become a lot more serious, and that sort of serious storytelling will come to light. So what does he go and do?
Terms of your surrender. I hear now you speak for your king. So there should...
Chap.
What did he say?
Feels like they're trying to be like the modern day Marvel movies nowadays. Like everything's trying to be funny.
You're Asgardians, so if you die, you'll end up in Valhalla.
Oh my god, go away.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
One character you meet, she talks like a lady, sounds like a lady, but she looks like this.
I love protein too.
We know you love protein. Protein rocks. Awesome. Protein rocks. Protein.
This character looks like she ate Abbyzilla. Now, to be fair to her, I think, she's actually the only character so far that's really serious towards Jack, and also the other one who's quite serious. So one of two that I've met at the moment. So that was one positive, although she's just such an unlikable character who for some reason looks the way she does, and for some reason the game doesn't actually explain why she looks like that. I've met a lot of other NPCs in the game and there's not one person I've met so far that looks like her. I feel like they haven't even addressed it. Maybe they will later on in the game and I haven't got to that yet, but it's just like, yeah, let's just put on a massive up, proteined up, steroid up woman who is a woman, sounds like a woman, but has the body of Arnie back in the day. Did you have special powers growing up? Do you have triple the amount of testosterone than the average male or immortal? Or were you just born like that? And you ate your whole family. You have the head of the Immortals, Kirkan, who is the captain of the ship, and we call her Ma'am.
Neutral, do not assume she's called Ma'am. It's 2023.
Thank you, sir. Clock's ticking. Yes, sir. Sounds like Zendara filled you in, sir. But
which just really put me off, because I was like, well, you shouldn't really be called a sir, should you? You know, ma'am. Yes, sir. It just took me out of the immersion. I just couldn't take it seriously. For a game that doesn't take itself seriously, this bit they do. But when I'm focused on the abilities, the combat, wow, this is so much fun. You get so many different abilities and different armor and weapon sets that will change the level and variation of your attacks. So it was great trying out all of these different perks to see which one worked best. The upgrade system is pretty simple and you can use the ability points on whatever you want. Like the combat is basically magic instead of guns and it works so freaking well. It's so refreshing for me and it just flows. You have some other cool abilities such as you triple tap X and you will float in the air to get across longer distances. You can attach to certain points like a grapple to lift yourself up, and you can use these abilities such as slowing down an enemy with this green juice thing, and also to open up chests that you will find around the world. Now, Immortals of Aveum and UIP, I am really enjoying this game. I am having a lot of fun with the combat. Now, I was more interested with the story at the start, and as I've got along, I've just lost a lot of interest in the story just because of how comedic it is. I feel like the only thing that lets this game down is that they went for this sort of comedic dialogue, and I'm pretty shocked that they did, because I'm just thinking this story and this game could have been a serious tone. Comparing it to something like Final Fantasy 16, I really thought it should have had that serious tone to it. Well, the front of the box looks like that, you know what I'm saying? It's just a shame they didn't. Like, we're not 10. It would have made me take some of these characters seriously and this Everwarp a lot more serious than it is, because at the minute everyone thinks it's a big joke. Now, even though the story and and the tone is a problem, there is such a potential to build upon this game. And even though I haven't finished the game, I feel like if there is a sequel, they should make it much more darker instead of making out it's made for 10-year-olds. In regards to all these free games, I'm doing this sort of video so there's more value in this video. I just have to wait for those damn physical releases to happen. High on Life, there's probably not going to be a physical release. So what do you think about the 3 games I've mentioned? Will you play them? I want to know what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know. Well, let's take a look at the comment of the day from my previous video. My top 15 most played PlayStation games based off hours. Shout out to Pink Skies. What an interesting list. I thought for sure Valhalla would end up at number 1. Congrats once again on the 30k. Great job. Also, my merch arrived. The hoodie I got for the hubs is so soft. He loves it. Of course, I got the pink shirt, Buy Me a Coffee, which is no longer on the site and was labeled limited when I got it. So, woohoo! Thank you, Pink Skies, for the comment and also purchasing some merch. It helps out a hell of a lot supporting this channel, and I'm glad he likes it as well. I know some of the stuff seems limited because quite a lot of you have bought some merch, so I'm really happy about that. So thank you, and thank you to everyone that is not in this room, but you're watching me from your own room. Crazy, the internet. In regards to the giveaway, I've now got 2 copies of the PlayStation Spider-Man DualSense controller. I've got 2, one for me and one for the giveaway. And obviously someone is going to win a copy of Spider-Man 2 or a gift card that totals that amount. So the 2 winners of that giveaway will be announced in the next video. Anyways, time to put on the PS5. Maybe I'll play some more Immortals of Aveum. But I swear down, if he calls them sir once again, I'm gonna go...
Neutral, do you want to get cancelled? It's like you want to.
Aren't you just tired of being an SJW and every little thing anyone says you just get offended and you make a big deal? Aren't you tired? Why don't you just calm down and have a coffee with me?
I do get a bit tired sometimes. You know, I'll take that coffee.
There we go. We can all get along.
You have to call me daddy.
Get out. But yeah, we decided to play High on Life and... But yeah, I decided to play High on Life and I didn't know what to expect from this game. But we decided to play High on Life and I didn't know who... The story is stupid and I just wanted to know if a game is all... and perform Eclipse mad where when you set off back and forth of you where you'll hit back where listen, I'm an old school gamer. I'm not just gonna I'm an old school gamer just because I can download it on the PS Plus. They were going with this comedic. If he calls hot in there. A serious approach to the game. Yeah, mum.